welcome to the stream. We'll get started in just a moment here. All right, let's get it started. Hello, and welcome to Designer's Corner. My name is Josh. I've been a UX designer for over a decade now, and I'm here to take you through the world of UX design. So you can find Designer's Corner on YouTube and Twitter. Go follow us on Twitter to stay updated for notifications of when we go live and all that type of jazz. So, this week in Designer's Corner, we're going to take a little bit of a diversion from what was originally planned. We did some design thinking last week, and for the next week here, we're supposed to do principles of design, which we'll get to, that's a little later on. But for this week, I wanted to take a little bit of a diversion. And I want to talk about service jobs. I want to talk about something that crossed my mind, this week. It's not often that I go into the office, but I went into the office and it's not the same as it used to be pre-COVID. A lot of these big corporate, places, they have big corporate offices. They have big corporate buildings. And they used to be bustling centers, just hubs for people to, show up and do work, of course. But there was more to it. There was more mingling. When you have a nice office, when you have a nice, job that allows for comfort, they usually offer, some amenities. They usually offer some extra stuff. It's more than just the atmosphere. The building does a great job of making the atmosphere, but you get a lot more out of the people that are there, the services. And it's interesting to just kind of see that stuff not there, to see a skeleton of what you once knew. So, we're talking about service jobs. And you can go ahead and put away your dictionary. I'm not going to use technically the dictionary definition or anything like that. A service job in this case can refer to very many things. Many people that work service jobs in terms of construction workers, missionaries, cafeteria workers, all types of volunteer workers, a plethora of different types of jobs, different types of workers, janitors, custodians, librarians, all types of things. The people who run the operations behind the scenes. You see a name on a building, but there are so many people, more than just the workers, who you would typically expect to run the operations there. It's more than just the CEO. It's more than just, bigwigs in corporate suits and any other type of position that, you might think of when you think of a corporate job like that. When you think of, I don't know what you might think of when you're thinking of probably the tech industry. But there are many services that are keeping operations running behind the scenes that keep everything smooth for, the everyday white collar employee. A lot of blue collar work goes on behind the scenes. And so when I went into work this past week, of course, it's not the same as it was. Far fewer people. There are just about as many desks, all empty, of course. And it's fun in a way. It's nice. Not only do you get the atmosphere of the corporate building, but you also get, becomes a playground. You get room to frolic and roam and do whatever you want, in a lot of ways, working in a corporate environment, it gives you, I've always been a big proponent of remote work. I believe that, cutting out the commute is a really good, advantage, that you get a really good benefit to this type of telecommunication, remote work, all that type of stuff, working over Zoom calls and whatever else. But in terms of, going into the office, you do get the pleasantries of seeing the other people there. You do get maybe a boost of motivation. It depends on your personality type. But in a way, working in that type of environment, a lot of times you just kind of show up, and just your presence there, signifies working. And so, there's an argument to be made whether remote work or whether in office and in person work is more productive. I think probably through studies and stuff like that, it's kind of been shown that remote work does have very many benefits. There's you can probably find a bunch of YouTube videos that kind of outline the benefits of remote work versus in office, and how people have like adapted, the ways that it's changed the landscape. So I went into the office, not many people there, picked a seat, got to work, took a few meetings, all that kind of stuff. And then lunchtime rolled around, and I brought my lunch. And because I'm still social distancing in a way, I'm not necessarily mingling too much with other people, but I was working, on my own. And I decided to grab my lunch, go down to the cafeteria, because the cafeteria certainly is a shell of what it once was. And so I just pick a seat anywhere. There's no one in there. Not a single other person. No one's eating lunch there. Most people, there are so few people there that most people will just take their lunch in the break room, wherever the common area where the refrigerators are, located. I think a lot of people either do that. They probably just find one of the offices and take their lunch back at their desk. Um, yeah, but there's no reason to actually travel to the cafeteria to take your lunch. So I'm sitting in there and I'm looking around, and it still looks like the cafeteria, of course, without any life. And I was thinking about all of the service workers in that sense, that weren't there. The ways that the environment has changed, and the implications of having to let those people go. I assume that they haven't resumed such services in the office, and it's been 3 years now since COVID officially brought us into a 2-week shutdown, which turned into basically a year shutdown, and it changed the landscape for us. It changed the landscape for many people, and seeing as those services aren't the same, I think sometimes they'll probably do like a food truck um, that shows up to the office, but to think of the cafeteria workers there that used, the chefs, no one was on the cook line, and there was a camaraderie, there was an environment, an atmosphere about being able to go there, get some food. It was good food. Give me one moment. It was good food, plethora of different options to choose from. Lots of different meals. You might get lasagna, pizza, hamburgers, French fries, fish fillet, chicken sandwich, whatever. So lots of different options. Chefs working, making it possible. And just to think that not only is this difficult, well, of course, the person most impacted or first impacted is the worker, the service worker. And it's difficult on them having to be told that they're being let go or that, their service is being shut down, even if it was only supposed to be for 2 weeks or whatever the duration of time, just to see it carry on so far. And then on top of that, it has to be hard for the company too, because this isn't just a consolidation. It's not that the company is just saying like, hey, just we'll let your company, the cafeteria or like cook company, food services company, know that we're consolidating your position here. Come Monday, you're going to show up to our sister location or anything like that. It's not that their job right here is being terminated, but you have to think that so many corporations, big businesses that have, any of the Googles and whatever else, Google's, Facebook's, Amazon's, any place that, used to be a huge hub of business like this and can just so easily and callously just shut down its doors. And, the business isn't affected in the same way, but the service workers are. The business continues to go on and it has ways to adapt and it's versatile. But just in this way, the business isn't every business. The business is letting its employees go, its service workers go. And the service workers can't just turn around and go to another business that offers the same type of services. That offer, food services, janitorial services, whatever other type of like community services like that. And so, it got me thinking about all the people, all the normal people that are affected by this. And I like that term, normal people. And I was thinking about, as I thought about the service workers, I thought about the normal people that were being affected by this. And the reason that I like the term normal is because it has an othering effect, as the kids nowadays would say. And what I love an othering effect. I love the fact that othering makes a distinction and it sets apart what's normal from what's unusual, what's uncanny, what's non-conforming, what's different. And these jobs, UX jobs, developer jobs, I don't even know what other type of high-end, type of engineering or whatever other type of jobs, fall into this category, but there's a cushiness to it. It's nice for, in my perspective. I like my job. I always knew that I kind of wanted to go into UX design. It was ever since my friend introduced me to the term UX design in college, and from that moment on, I knew that that was exactly what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. And a lot of people, certain people get to, benefit from these jobs, but not everyone. And the ability to be able to walk into a building and that's just, spontaneously constructed, the ability to walk the halls, walk the floors, use the restrooms, sit in the lounge areas that are magically maintained, it's quite a gift and it's overlooked. It's interesting to think about, because the buildings still maintained. The building still uses custodians in a way. The building, we have some coffee machines. We've consolidated some of our coffee machines here and there throughout the building. It used to be basically every 10 feet, but now it's basically in the lounge area, a coffee machine. But those still get refilled. We still have the coffee vendors show up and refill the machines and all that kind of stuff. And it's interesting to see the services that we keep and the services that we get rid of, and more importantly, how easy it is to kind of get rid of some of these services. We're talking about the dispensability of service workers. And so, we live in a society where we don't really value people anymore, and we like to automate everything. We love to automate everything. Big business is always constantly thinking about automation, how to make things easier, more efficient, and above all else, less interaction with, less person to person interaction, which means that they get to let some people go. And, it's business. It's not, they, as they say, a dog eat dog world. So you understand how a business will consider the bottom line, of course. And, we all like job security. So it's understandable why business aims for these goals. Hey, how's it going, Dave? So we all understand how business aims for these goals, but to think about the impact, I know in my day to day, I kind of work. We always are thinking about how do we consolidate our customer service needs for our business, and on the surface level, they talk about how can we, automate these services, customer service, call centers and stuff like that, and be able to delegate, our reps from those areas to do other jobs. But underlying, that they're looking to consolidate the people, the positions overall. So it's something to think about, something to, consider when we consider how we like to automate everything. And we just like to do what we can to get rid of these simplified tasks, I'll say. We don't value the common task. It's unfortunate that we don't value service jobs more, or rather the service workers. We've gotten to a place in time in history where, we do have the luxury of being able to cut the service worker because of the automation. And, it's miraculous and it's incredible. And especially for someone like me, I have a UX job. So it's great to be able to be in a position where we're not only, helping to create the innovations that, drive this automation of the world, but there's some job security there too. But in the process, for most companies, for most businesses, the aim is to get rid of a lot of these positions, a lot of these common task services. We just don't, we take the people for granted. And, the point of it all is that even though these services seem simple, seem common, seem easy to solve, if the internet were to go down, we'd all be going back to normal service jobs. These are the normal jobs that keep, the machine going. The machine, these people, the service workers, they may not be the machine, but they're certainly the cogs in the machine. Imagine if, you were shopping around for a car, or, you even go to your own car in your driveway, and you pop open the hood and there's just no engine in the hood. There's no engine in your car. Sometimes you can even take the engine out of a car and repurpose it to a different vehicle, and the vehicle will run just fine. But it's based on the engine. The engine is what makes the machine run. And so, hey, thanks, Dave, for the question. So, first one, the AI, certainly where we're at the moment, AI isn't as reliable, or we're working our way into generative AI at the moment, and it's not as proficient at its job as we like to think. Everyone got starry-eyed by Open or ChatGPT, and ChatGPT made it seem like we were on the cusp of some new technology for a while now. You can think of video games, even the AI that goes into the enemies of video game. We've had video games for a while now, and they've been using versions of AI. Lots of systems have a version of artificial intelligence, or more specifically, the machine, the computer, is generating answers or responses to the calls that the user makes, and it's doing it more intuitively. It's kind of probably the most watered down and dumbed down version. If you think about the Facebook which Disney princess are you type of quiz, that's not necessarily AI. It doesn't have to, it's just picking from a table based on whatever score you get. But same type of principles apply, same systems apply. AI is just a little bit more advanced, but still doing the same type of thing under the hood, trying to, see what the situation is, what the input is, and based on the metrics, based on, what score it kind of gives your input, then it will decide the best approach and the best answer to give you in response. So yeah, so we're here with generative AI, and it's not as advanced as we think it is, but we like to think that it's more advanced, and so a lot of companies jumped on the train. Apple, Google, Facebook, all of that. So yeah, there's a lot of downsides to it. In terms like ChatGPT is basically just a glorified list generator. It's not going to write the compelling stories of George R. R. Martin, or Stephanie Myers, or I don't know, just any. Let's see who Nora Roberts. Haven't read any of her books, but I see them all the time at Walmart or whatever the case is. So yeah, so it's going to give you a very logical response back. And yeah, that's basically AI. It's not as reliable. It's good at what it does, but it doesn't go reach beyond that. So things like Tesla, automated self-driving cars, stuff like that. We're still a while away from that type of technology reasonably, efficiently, reliably working. The goal is to make AI super expensive and make people cheaper. I mean, maybe for the companies that kind of want to use AI, yeah, I'm sure they want to benefit and profit from it, and certainly they want to make people as cheap as they come. So minimum wage wherever they can, and yeah, definitely a person has to be like I assume you're referring to like the Tesla. Person has to be involved in driving the car and stuff like that, which undermines the purpose of a self-driving car. But again, it's facade. We're trying to sell the pipe dream over here of having self-driving cars, when in reality, the machines, the computers underneath the hood, they don't know exactly what's going on. And generative AI art, it's pretty good. It doesn't know why it's doing what it's doing when it makes the choices. It's just kind of replicating what it sees as input. A lot of this AI too, any of the captcha or recaptchas from Google. Whenever you see the squiggly numbers or the pick all the squares that have a stop sign in it, a lot of those are there just to train the system and give it a better understanding of what numbers or symbols are. And so one of the things that I found out, hopefully everyone else can benefit from this too, they're just crowdsourcing. They're crowdsourcing the answers and getting their AI. You as the user are building up their AI. So if you ever get one of the captchas that says, we're gonna show you two pictures, write down the word that you see or whatever it is. One of the words is like super clear, like there's no mistaking what it is. You go ahead and write it down. It took just a second to kind of unblur it in your mind, but otherwise it was like, oh yeah, I know what that word is, blah blah. And then the second one is this weird jumble mess of letters that are super blurry. You're wondering why they would even give this to you. It's the worst picture you've ever seen in your life. You basically take a wild guess and somehow you land it. When you have those captchas, or even when you have to pick the stop sign, the computer doesn't know what the answer is. Google has given it a couple of pictures of stop signs, and it's given it like an idea of what it's looking for. They might have said like, hey, there's 4 stop signs in this sequence of 9 squares or whatever. So if the person guesses 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there, they'll give it some leniency. But they're basically just relying on you to tell the computer what a stop sign looks like, or what a motorcycle looks like, or what a boat looks like. You can actually use that against the computer as best as you can to give it the wrong answer sometimes. So to the first example, you get one clear word, one blurry word. The computer has no idea what the blurry word is. It is relying on you 100%. It is relying on everyone. If everyone says that's giraffe, and except for one person says it's dog, that the word says dog, then it's just going to say, okay, 99% to 1, throw out the answer that was dog. Clearly it's giraffe. Everyone's telling me it's giraffe. And so then it learns that the blurry word is giraffe. So then the next time it can give someone the blurry word as it's 100% certain this word is giraffe. Go ahead and answer this one correctly. So for the clear word, blurry word, it's looking for you to input the clear word correctly, because that way it knows that it's you, and tell it what the blurry word is, because it has no idea for itself. Same thing you can do for the stop signs of the motorcycles. Give it a wrong answer from time to time, and it will still accept it. It will still let you through, because it's like, close enough. So that's what's going on with that stuff. And then it can only use others' content. Yep, and especially with the generative AI, can only use other people's content. So it doesn't know what it's doing, but it'll take its best guess and give a person 6 fingers. So then here we go, back to what we're doing with service design or service workers. So this brings us back to asking and answering the question of why are we here? So we've been at Designer's Corner for a couple weeks now, and the whole situation of going into the office and thinking about the situation of the service workers, that got me reflecting on what are we doing here in the first place? Why am I continuing Designer's Corner? And this isn't some kind of weird send off where I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna give up on life or anything like that. But at the risk of sounding patronizing and self-righteous, overzealous, part of what we're doing here is that I want to give people an outlet. I'm thinking of the service workers. I'm thinking of, people who are forced out of their roles, and, what these people have to do. Can they just turn around and go get another service worker job when all the companies are, shutting down their doors in a way, when Twitter is just telling all its employees they can just go home? Does everyone just open up a food truck? I don't know. Maybe. I would hope that in a lot of situations where, the service workers of the world find themselves out of a job, I would love it if the service workers were purely there on, a voluntary basis. If they, sometimes you see, the elderly might go back to Walmart or Target just to kind of pick up some spare change, help out the community, kind of work a job, stay active in their community, all that kind of stuff. But, on the surface, they don't need the job. They're set. They're just doing it just for, just for the laughs. And I would hope that everyone could be in that position, but not everyone can be. And, most people are probably in the job, if not just because that's their profession, that's their career, and that's their sustainable lifestyle and job. Most people are probably trying to save up for that boat that they want. Most people don't have all the funds that they're looking for. And even if it's someone that doesn't need the money, maybe they want the money. Maybe they're expecting to get another paycheck next week so that they can buy the finer things in life that that they want. So when it comes to what we're doing here and what I'm trying to offer to people, the fact that we can't change is that businesses are trying to consolidate, are trying to eliminate certain positions. And my work here isn't meant to eliminate anyone or anything, but we're not going to be able to escape that fact, escape the idea that, 10, 20 years from now, we'll probably see half as many Uber or DoorDash drivers. And not just because, we've seen from research that the gig economy isn't that great and sustainable. But on top of that, they'll probably come out with drones. And the drones might be faster, might be more reliable. They don't have to wait in New York City traffic. They can just fly through the air, get to someone's apartment, probably drop off the food on the 24th story window. So, we're going to see situations where people are getting cut in this kind of way. And so, from my perspective, what I want to offer to people is an outlet, and I want to give them options. So maybe they don't need it, but maybe they do. Maybe this is people that, were laid off from a certain job, had their service worker position, and whether they're sick of it, whether they're, looking to learn a new skill, whether they're looking for a career change, I want to be able to give people an outlet so that they have the options to learn from someone who is experienced in this kind of field and someone who wants to help. Quite frankly, I think that a lot of people want to create content for YouTube and are doing this type of thing, but it's not, there's no downside to throwing your hat in the ring as well and offering what you can, especially, and goes for anyone else who wants to jump in. So many people have so much to offer, so many different things to offer. So don't discredit yourself. Don't think that, just because you might not be the best in any one particular area, you have a lot to offer, and your individual perspective is meaningful, is beneficial. I feel like for me, I bring a very non-conforming perspective. I know some other designers that I work with that are very talented designers, and I feel like sometimes they blow me out of the water with how good their designs are, how skillful they are in terms of their abilities. I feel like in my own perspective, I bring, I've been teaching some of the people around me some the shortcuts in Figma. I have a junior designer under me at the moment that I've been teaching. I've been offering whatever wisdom I have in terms of teaching Figma and teaching the shortcuts and all that kind of stuff. And so it's different strokes for different folks. Different people have different things to offer. So don't discount yourself. You can be here too. You can offer what you can, and a lot of people will learn from even though things that come easy to you, you might not value them as much from your own perspective, but other people don't know it in the first place. So don't discount yourself. It's supposed to prepare us, give us a warning. I certainly felt blown out of the water by everyone I know for sure. Yep. So a lot of people around us, give us a lot of. There's a lot to learn from a lot of people. So, and that goes to a different point. Make sure that you're listening more than you're talking. That's a great way to learn in life. And never stop being curious, of course. The whole curiosity thing, always learning, always bettering yourself. But yeah, so that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to help other people so that they're not left out in the cold. And anyone who wants to join the community, anyone who wants to learn a new craft, a new skill, they're welcome to join. And I would love to be able to help anyone who needs it in that kind of fashion. So hopefully for next week, we'll get into principles of design. And then after that, we'll start working toward taking a look at our resume, portfolio, and working on some soft skills prior to that, so we know how, business conduct and different things that will help you to really nail that interview. So, part of the process is having good design work. Part of the process is presenting yourself well. So there's never a wrong time to start presenting yourself in the best fashion. And, a lot of people are remiss of that type of stuff. It's not just being able to speak eloquently. It's the way that you carry yourself. It's the confidence you exude and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get into that as well. And hopefully that will help people, even if you don't want to be a UX designer, even if you only watch for the soft skills, it can help you in any area, any career, any job, any facet of life. So thank you very much for joining. That's basically the talk for today. I just wanted to, give this talk and, express some sympathy, some empathy for, things that people don't necessarily see and don't necessarily think about, being the workers and the work that goes on behind the scenes here that keep things running smoothly. And I just wanted to bring some light to that and just remind everyone, of these types of things. So hopefully it's been a bit of a tearjerker and will make you look at life a little differently, so that you can go through the world with more empathy and can help others along the way where you can. So hopefully I've inspired you. Remember to like the video, subscribe, and thank you again for joining us for another episode. See you again next time. Bye.